Welcome to Ghosty Talk Shows. Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Challenges we have had to overcome in 2020.
Find your own voice.
The world has become united by the unseen, knowing there are no guarantees for tomorrow.
Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Let the world hear your voice and be filled within.
For the day has come for you to be a great leader.
The time has come to break away from the pain, distraction, experience the unthinkable.
Welcome to Ghosty Talk Shows, everyone. My name is Clara Mzumbe. I'm the founder of Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency and the founder of Ghosty Talk Shows. So I'm a love harmonist, and today with me I've got Tamia Dow, Dr. Biget Tan, and Carol Ann Cooper. So the audience might be wondering, what is in it for me, for all these beautiful speakers, if I'll be listening to them. So basically, you've heard them speaking, each and every one of them. They help you find your own voice so you can lead from within. And Kamal says there are no guarantees in life for tomorrow. So that's what we are here for. Over to you, Tamia Dow. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Hello. Thank you, Nomsa. I'm so excited to be on the show today. What a blessing. We're leading into 2022. I'm so excited about the new year. So I'm Tamia Dow, and I am an ordained minister. I am a coach, and I also make movies, award-winning filmmaker. I'm super excited to be here to talk about planning, making your plan for next year, writing your goals down. We're going to have an amazing time here together. And again, thank you, Nomsa.
Thank you so much, Tamia. Over to you, Carol Ann. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Hello and good afternoon from London. And Happy New Year to those of you that are in Australia, because I know that part of you have already stepped into, or part of this world has already stepped into 2022. So we're building up to it here and looking forward to it, an exciting new year. So as the writing facilitator, what I do is I support soul-driven entrepreneurs in becoming more productive with their writing by connecting them with their deeper innate ability to write. But more importantly, they experience free-flowing writing. They experience an unlocking of the writer within and getting their book written, getting their story written, because you cannot publish what isn't written. And all of this has come about through my own journey of unlocking the writer within. So I'm Carol Ann, the writing facilitator. Thank you. So Dr. Brigitte, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Carol Ann. Let me ask you, if you are listening to this, what would you love to accomplish in 2022? What would you love to accomplish in 2022? Well, we know that you can have a lot of things you would love to accomplish, but if you go, as Jim Carrey say, go sit on a sofa and eat a sandwich and do nothing else. Being an award-winning movie actor, I suspect he knows what he's doing. You will not get anywhere if you do nothing. And if you ever want to drive somewhere and you don't know how to get there and don't have a map or a plan, it might be a little confusing and you might accidentally get lost and go in the opposite direction. So we do want to be able to have a plan, even if it is just an outline. And so we'll share with you today how to create an effective, efficient plan. There are plans and there are plans. And so we're going to share with you, listen on, such that you will be able to create a super awesome 2022 easily and with fun, regardless of where you are now. And I know that because I'm a grief transformation coach, where I help you, regardless of what adversity you are facing at this moment, to still easily create the result you really, really love. And I'm Brigitte Tan, and it's an honor and a delight to be with you today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Pickett. And I'm going to start with you, Carol Ann. And can you tell us how to write an action plan to achieve? How do we write an action plan and achieve our goals? And if you have anything you've written, or I know everyone is excited for 2022, and for the start of the new year, everyone always have something planned for the next year. So please, Carol, I'll take the floor.
Thank you. I haven't got anything fully planned yet. I'm still working on a few things and looking at what is it that I didn't like about this particular year, looking back, and what would I like to leave in this year, and then looking forward, what is it I want to move forward to. So I'm looking at that aspect at the moment. In terms of writing an action plan, what you need to actually be able to do is look at the end goal, but also you've got to say, well, what's the goal for? Because there's different aspects. There's a life goal, there's your business. If you're a writer, there's writing goals. Hobbies that you might have, is there goals there? So there's all different aspects of your life that you could be writing goals for. So decide what it is that you want to set goals for. Have fun with it. But the main thing is to look to the end first, and then you plan backwards. And the planning then is the action steps that take you there. So having decided what it is you want, you need to give it a deadline and work backwards. What are the stepping stones that will then get you there? What are the actions that you need to take? And that's something that I'm working on myself, because I'm great at setting goals and going, yes, this is what I want to do. And by then I'm not particularly fond of deadlines myself, but looking at a deadline, but then going to the finer detail of looking at the actions that you need to take in order to achieve that goal. So it's being able to do that as well and put them in order, and also prioritize them. You know, which ones need to go first, but then setting in between goals, you know, milestones. What do you want to achieve by when, so that you can eventually get to the deadline that you set and your goal is achieved. And it's about also being able to be flexible and review it along the way, because life happens, and it's how do you then bring yourself back into it, bounce back and continue, because that for me is something that I say struggling with. It's been a challenge this last 3-4 months of this year to bounce back and get focus of, well, where is it I want to go and what is my actual goal. So it's finding ways of being able to bounce back when life gives you a few curveballs, and build that into your plan as well. What are you going to do when a curveball hits? You know, make sure you've got actions in place or at the sidelines that you can pick up and say, oh, there's a bit of a curveball here. I can do this, or I can talk to this person. You've got people that you can talk to and who can hold you accountable along the way. And I know there's something called a SMART plans. And I expect some of the others might like to talk about those in a bit more detail. If not, we can open up into that later on. But the main thing is, where are you going? Get that end goal. Visualize it. Step into it. Feel it. How will it make you feel when you're there? Really get the emotional aspect of it. And then what were you going to hear when you're there? What can you sense and taste when you're there? Open up your senses and really be in that end goal. And that's something that will help to pull you through. So that's my initial opening into this, how to write an action plan. Who'd like to take on and move forward with this? Tamia, would you like to follow on?
Yes, I love that. I was taking notes. Such good stuff.
I saw that and I thought, oh yeah, you have to carry on.
I tell you what, I am a lifetime learner. I can always learn from my sisters and brothers that are on the path too. So that's a little bit of what I talk about in my portion is so the steps to creating an action plan. When I look at it, some of the highlights from yours that really stood out. The map. I always like that analogy of the map, you know, where you're not going to get where you're going if you don't have a map to get you there. If not, you'll wander along and you'll get distracted and so you don't really know what your plan is. Now, sometimes people like to live their life like that. They just like to see what comes and enjoy what comes. But for success, which is what we're talking about, writing your plan for your personal success in 2022, that has to do with you focusing on what it is that you want. So I love the way you open with that, is figure out what you want. A lot of times people don't. They just go from day to day and they don't feel like there's a need necessarily for them to make a plan. Right? Because, being a minister, I know they say we make plans and God laughs, right? he has an ultimate plan for us, right? So he's kind of amused. It's like if any of you have children, I have I raise nieces and nephews, and they start off with this idea in their mind, but you're looking at them going, no, we're not going that way, we're going to the store. No, we're not going that way, we're going here, right? So it's kind of like I just envision God looking at us like that, right? Going, okay, that's really cool, Tamia, but we're not going that way, we're going here, okay? So I believe it is very important to not just have a plan, because God gives us a vision. He does. He gives each and every one of us our own personal vision of what our life will look like in his walking with him, should I say. Because what happens a lot of times is, like that child who goes toddling off, you're like, no, we're going this way. And we spend so many years toddling off because we're not putting our focus on the plan, and nor are we putting our focus on, in my belief system is that we're not putting our focus on God and God's plan for us. When we do that, trust me, I'm not going to tell you everything's going to be perfect, because along that journey, there's also going to be obstacles placed there, but the obstacles are placed there to sharpen you, to build you, and when you have a plan, you'll be able to reassess and get back on that map, get back on the plan to where you're going. But when you don't have one, you can hit an obstacle and get totally derailed and thrown off track. This is what we don't want to happen to you, our listeners and our viewers. We want you to have a solid plan. So let me share with you. I always start with my coaching clients, especially the first time a year, is talking about vision boarding. And that's because I'm visual. There's 3 different modalities of learning for people, and you may figure out what yours is or know by now. I'll just briefly tell you quickly. One is visual. You see things. You have to see it happen. Somebody could tell you all day that you're supposed to do this, this, and this, and you will look at it and go, I'm not seeing it, Whereas there's also one that's called kinesthetic, which means you need to put your hands on stuff. So if somebody tells you to do something, you're like, hold on, say that again, and then you do it. right? Because you want to be able to put your hands on it. And also kinesthetic learners are ones who they hold on to it. Kinesthetic learners are also people who write a lot, even though you saw me writing. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm kinesthetic, but it is one of my, well, we all have the skills, right? And the other one is audio, right? So if somebody is an audible learner, then they need to hear it. So the reason I mention those three things is when you're working on your plan, I always start with my clients with a vision board so they can put a vision in front of them. They can put up, like even behind me, I have the map. I have the calendar for January 2022 because you know what? It's tomorrow. Okay. So to prepare yourself to move into this next day, it's good to be on the next calendar page, right? So many people who are listening to me haven't even bought their 2022 calendar. Well, that's part of you moving forward into 2022. You got to acknowledge it and prepare to embrace it. And part of that is to get your calendar, put your calendar together and start looking at what January, February, March, April, May. What is your 2022 looking like for you? What do you envision? Right? So the vision board helps. On your vision board, there's many different ways to do it. I'm not going to go in depth because I have my other colleagues here that are going to share too. But when you do a vision board, you want to put the things on the board that you want to see come to fruition in this new year. Go, like, for example, for me last year or 2019. Well, anyway, 2020. Yeah. So I got a brand new car. I got a brand new white BMW. Okay. Dream car, SUV, dream car. It was on my vision board for 2 years. So I saw it in front of my face every single day. And then finally, when the opportunity for me to get that car came, do you know I started looking at other cars? And even though I had it on my vision board, I started looking at other cars and people said to me, what is your dream car? What do you have on your vision board? What are you looking to get? And I was like, okay, I didn't even look at that, right? Even though the vision board was right in front of me, So we have to stay locked into our vision board too. Look at it because those opportunities and doors open. And finally, somebody said, girl, go after your dream. Get the car you want. Don't run around, just getting by with the car because we want to live our lives without regrets. So I didn't want to be sitting there with, and I'm not going to say a brand of car, right? But let's say I'm sitting there with a car that was not the BMW. And then I'm driving around going, gee, I really wish I get my BMW. Someday I'm going to get my BMW. You know what? Choose you. Choose you in life and go after what you want, right? Get it and then figure out how can you keep it, sustain it, etc. Okay. So vision boarding and journaling, I talked about kinesthetic. Journaling to me is very important. Part of that knowing what you want to do for the year is, as Carol Ann said, you have to write the plan. Okay. So the Bible says, write the vision and make it plain, right? Write the vision and make it plain. So that if you were to give that vision to someone, they could run off and make it happen. That's in Habakkuk 2:2. So do that. You want to see the vision, write the vision, and then speak the vision. Okay. So I just said the three. All right. Then speak the vision out. Tell people what your dream is. For example, for me, in 2022, I have a new series. As I mentioned, I'm a film director. I have a new series with a new character, and she is going to be traveling all over the world. So I let everybody know, December, I'm talking about The Adventures of Lexi Zara that will launch in January 2022. I put it out there, do the vision, make it plain, put it out there. You put it out there, you let God know the desire. And of course, I pray behind the things that I believe I should do so I can make sure the Lord's walking with me. Because if I'm walking against him, I'm not going to accomplish my mission. But I believe from all of the doors that he's opened that this is the vision. This is the plan for 2022 for me. So what you need to do, because this is about you, is listen to what I'm saying here, write down what I'm saying here, and envision, right? The three. Envision those dreams that you have coming through. Part of the roadmap for Lexi Zara is planning where her adventures will be. Where will she go? Because Lexi Zara character's motivation is she's looking for her father. She never knew her father. And now she's been told that he exists. So she's going to spend 2022 all over the world looking for the location of her father. What a fun adventure, right? yet that definitely has to be mapped out. So when we talk about that plan, that journaling, that speaking it out, focus on it daily. Make sure you focus on the steps you need to take to get to where you need to go, right? So if you're getting in your car to go somewhere, you drive the road that gets you where you need to go, right? And it's not that you get in your car and then you're there. There's steps along the way. So be mindful each day of what you need to do to help you accomplish your mission. You have to be, when I say mindful, I'm talking about you want to do purpose achieving activities. And what that means is focus on where you're going. Don't be, watching some television program or, getting lost in newspapers and this and that and the other, because we can spend hours on TV, newspapers, all of this stuff that we really need to be very mindful of, because you need to be mindful of what you put in your head, because it's a distraction. It can be a huge distraction. And let me break it to you. So can social media, you guys. So be mindful of your social media. Set your time clock. So, I can go, you'll say, oh, I'm going to post and then I'm going to look for 15 minutes and then I'm done, right? Some of us, like myself, I'm so super busy. I post and then I'm like off to the next, thing, kind of that, because I'm looking at doing purpose achieving activities, and scrolling through can actually be a little depressing, right? Those of you who have been doing it recently, we hear, about friends passing and, just negative things and this kind of thing. And we need to feed ourselves. We need to be mindful of what we put in our minds. We need to feed ourselves positive things. And on top of that, once we remove distractions, we need to surround ourselves with people who are going to help us on the journey. Okay. So we're not going to put somebody in our car. If we're going on a road trip, we're not going to jump in the car with somebody who gets on our nerves, who aggravates us, who we have to put up with just to get there. No, you're going to find a travel companion that you are compatible with, one that you enjoy spending time with, one that you know that you will grow together, even in conflict, that kind of thing. And a lot of times in our lives, we don't pair ourselves up or align with people who are on the same journey with the same passion and the same purpose, but also a joy for life, a joie. What do they say? A joie de vivre, or my French pronunciation is not really well, but I think you get what I know. What I'm saying here, they need to be joyful people. Don't surround yourself with bitter people. Don't surround yourself with people who are bringing you down. And you need to let go of those people who are trying to bring you down. If someone said to me, I don't know what that is that you want to do, I don't know why you're even making films, I'll be like, you know what, it's not for you to know. It's my journey. And it'll let me know clearly that that person is not supposed to be on the journey with me. Because if they're telling me they don't get what my vision is, that's okay. I love you. You may be a relative, you may be a good friend that we've known each other since childhood, but you know what? You're not supposed to go on that journey with me, because I know what God told me. I know, I see my vision, so if you don't see my vision, you can't ride with me. I'll let you off at the next Chevron station. You can catch the bus back home, But sometimes we have to do that. We got to be mindful on our plan as we write it down. So we call people like that who support us, we call those our tribe. You find tribe members, and tribe members aren't often your family and friends. A lot of times they are other people who resonate with who you are and what you're doing. So realize that sometimes when you're speaking to these other people. You're not speaking to the family and friends. You can briefly share with them at gatherings and say, the Thanksgiving gathering, the Christmas gathering, the New Year's Eve gathering, and the people are asking you, what are you up to? What's your plan for the next year? You tell them your plan, but you don't really need their input. If they say, oh, that's great, how can I help? Then add them on. Okay. But if they don't say, great, how can I help? If they start naysaying, you just say, well, it was nice talking to you. I hope what you're looking for in the new year's happens for you. And you move on to the next person, because you want to align yourself with positive people who are going on the same road as you. So let's see, once you do that, you want to find people, number one, a person that's a mentor for you, someone who's gone the path already, and then follow their roadmap. Why create a new roadmap, right? If they've already done it, like let's say I wanted to be a talk show host, don't you think I would study Oprah? Or study someone who has successfully done it. I wouldn't go and look at, and I can't think of any failed talk show hosts, but I'm just saying, I wouldn't go look at, Sally Smith, who had a talk show that lasted like 2 episodes and nobody watched it. You want to go to the high-end mentor. And what's the worst thing they can tell you if you approach them? They don't have time, they won't do it, and then you just study them still, okay? That when they say this, the sincerest form of flattery is imitation. So you study them and you imitate what works, right? Why reinvent the wheel? Let's follow what works. So find a mentor, see if they will help, and if not, just study them and imitate them. You want to find your tribe, we talked about that. Then think about who can help you. So in those 3 situations where I said where you have family members and their friends come and that kind of thing, tell your story and see who can help you. Since the last, I went to a friend's house for, Christmas Eve, and was with family on Christmas. Do you know how many people I've aligned with that are like, we're going to help you on your journey? We're going to help you make this Lexi Zara adventure. We're going to be there to assist. So I'm so excited about that. Because it was just telling your story, right? Share it with somebody and see who wants to come on the journey with you. And then I really encourage you guys, as you're working your plan, you write your plan out, daily review it, and then please enjoy the process. Enjoy the journey. It is for you. The good and the bad is for you. The lessons that you learn is for you. You know what is there for you? It's for you to learn along the way. It's for you to do. So in action, be in action. And it's for you to turn around and teach others the path that you went on. Teach others the obstacles. Hey, I went down this one road and it was a dirt road and it dead end. So I needed to pull back around and go this way. Tell people of your journey, because you don't want anybody else to go down that path and get lost, right? Or get discouraged or derailed. We want to make sure that we share with people because we experienced it for a reason, right? Every day we wake up and every experience that we have has a purpose. So please don't discount that, good or bad. But we have to choose our focus. Do we look at it as bad, or do we turn around, ask what the lesson was and what happened to us, and then turn around, process it, use it for our good, and move forward? And then once you've accomplished your mission or your dream or your plan that you've put together, let's say you accomplish it in February. All right, excellent. Congratulations. Celebrate. Like my book says, in celebration of you, celebrate in celebration of you. Right? It talks about rediscovering the things that you've accomplished in life that you totally didn't pay attention to. A lot of times we accomplish our goals. You get your degree, you get your certificates, you do this thing, and you go to this place you always wanted to travel to, and then we're like, tick the box and keep on moving, and we forget about the experience, the process, and what it took us to get there. So I encourage you to celebrate. Take time to celebrate your small milestones as you go along the way to make it to the end. And if you've done and completed it, like I said, learn, do, teach. Okay? Learn, do, teach somebody else how to do it. But do not forget the most important thing, which is that celebration aspect of it. Once you look at what you've done, you want to refine and improve it. Ask yourself what worked, what didn't work, how can I improve it? Those 3 questions there. And then for my segment, that's kind of what I'm sharing there. That's what I would say. And like I was showing you here, this can be part of your roadmap. The In Celebration of You, which is available on Amazon by Tamia Dow. In Celebration of You. It's an amazing book. It's a workbook. Actually, it helps you go through the process, journal through the process, and get you to where you want. But it also helps you remember your passion too. Because a lot of times when we were younger, we had one passion, which for me, I was in love with theater and acting when I was younger, when I was a teenager. Then I went and worked a full career as a police officer. I went from the military to policing. None of that involved acting. And then when I retired, I went into filmmaking. So it's never too late to follow your dreams. So I hope that sparks you. I hope if there's someone here listening and maybe in their action plan, they haven't even thought about going after the dream that they had in the past. I want to tell you, now's the time. Today's your day. And it's a clean slate. So tomorrow, start your journey for your dream. God bless you guys.
Hi guys, when the audience types, whoever is on the mic, please can you respond to the audience? Because they come in and they communicate and then they leave if no one is responding. Dr. Bigot, please.
Thank you, Numsa. Thank you. That was wonderful advice, Tamia, and I love your share as well, Carol. And yes, there is a lot of tips and tools on how to create plan and how to create a wonderful year as well as a wonderful other things. And as Tamia says, we encounter things. You can start out with a plan and then you have whatever happened in life is whatever happened in life. Call distractions, call busyness, call lives happen, and that is why it is something that is where we know that many studies shows that by February 1st, people about 80% of people has so-called fail their New Year's resolutions. They have planned. Many times they write it down too. They have goals. They have these goals and that goals and then it is something that well most people don't do it. Why? Because sometimes people get the why wrong. So, in other words, for me, for yes, it's good to have plan. Yes, it's good to be writing this and that. And at the same time, one thing that you would want to know before you even write down your plan, before you even write down your goal, is actually to know your why. Your why will be like a guiding north star, so to say. And your plan might change, your goal might need to be modified at certain time. But if you know your why, what is your why do you have? So the difference that you might say, what the heck was the difference between that and the goal? So the difference is your why create your goals. So you can have a why of this. Let's say your why is usually your purpose in life. Tamia says you want to be aligned with whether you call it God, whether you call it higher power, whether you call it your authentic self, whatever it is. Well, how do you become aligned? How do you know? Many people say, "Well, how do I know that I'm aligned to what have to the higher power or God or your authentic self to be aligned on to be who you are?" Well, one thing is to listen to your heart. Listen closely to your heart because your heart is what connect you with your higher power, your authentic self. Your heart is what connect you to who you are. And when you are connected to who you are, then you are connected with life and be aligned with life. And when you are doing that, then you're not saying, oh, maybe this is what I'm supposed to do, or is it not what I'm supposed to do? And I am not even quite sure. Now, sometimes being aligned with your heart might seem like something where it's really illogical. It completely against common sense or something in that aspect. But notice that if you are aligned with your heart, what's in your heart is love. And if you are allowing yourself to be guided by love, that one way or the other, you will work things out. And even if you have distraction, obstacle, the only thing that will get you past an obstacle, regardless of what's the size it is love. If somebody else telling you, have you ever heard about yo-yo dieting? Most people yo-yo dieting is because they say, well, the magazine saying this, and my spouse saying that, and my doctor saying those, and everybody else. But let me ask you, what are you saying? What is not what your mind is saying? What is your heart saying? And perhaps your heart saying, okay, I did a health check and I am perfectly healthy. And yes, I am not size 2 or size 0, but I'm perfectly healthy at size 10 or 12 or whatever size you are. Then, and that's what I'm comfortable at. And that's who I am. I'm not born 5 feet and skimping of 40 kilo. I'm not meant to be size 0. So what is your heart telling you? Perhaps it is in your work as well. You want to allow yourself to listen to your heart. And that will allow you to be in alignment with your purpose. And then you can from there say, okay, so this is my purpose, this is my what my heart calling me, and now I can actually as Carol Ann implied, it's a little bit of a backtracking. Actually, from there you can say, okay, so this is the goal I'm going to create. So instead of trying to be size 2 and become a lifetime struggle, perhaps you said, my goal is to be healthy, to have great all encompassing natural health, and fit, comfortable, strong, flexible, healthy body, which is an affirmations I said every morning. And that is absolutely no pound here in the United States or kilogram or whatever or sizes in there, and it just perhaps that's all your goal. We have great all encompassing natural health, fit, comfortable, strong, flexible, healthy body, whatever that is for you. And then from there, then you can say, okay, now how do I backtrack and create the plan? Creating the plan is actually the easiest part of things. Discovering who you are is a whole nother story if you're not used to doing that. And part of discovering who you are is to also letting go. Because why? Because if you ever look at a container of something, say a glass of water or a glass of milk, if there are dirts underneath on the bottom, and dirts are life experiences that still following you, then there is no way that water or that milk going to be pure. And yes, the dirt might be sedimenting on the bottom when everything nice and calm, like life smooth sailing. When is life forever smooth sailing? Once the life's not when once it's not all nice and settled, once something happen, something shakes you up, say an experience, your something happen in your household, something happen in the world, then everything's going to be contaminated and confusing and murky again. And so you want to also let go. Part of being able to create a success is to be able to let go of the experience that's no longer serving you. Let's go of your grief. And grief is not only from death, divorce, dire diagnosis, or job loss. There are more than 40 causes of grief. Any change in your life that can create unsettling feelings can cause you to grieve. And so if you don't not even sure whether you're grieving, well, if you have experience in your life or you have any hope that you did not, if you have any hope, any wish that you did not accomplish, that is also another cause, fundamental cause of grief. Then you want to allow yourself to let go. So you have a clean state to start. And when you have a clean state, your heart is open. And when your heart is open, is that when you'll be able to say, okay, now I am able to listen. Now I can be clear, and I'm able to allow, because if your heart, you still have all this junk, so to say, or if you are grieving, your heart is closed down, it's a kind of almost like a door being locked. It's very challenging to be able to listen and to hear on what it is that's life telling you. What is it, like Samia says, what is it that the higher power is calling you? And when you are murky, if you ever have clouded thinking for whatever reason, perhaps you didn't get enough sleep or something happened, you consume something, then you can't think very well about, how as Caroline says, oh, look at the goal and backtracking and so forth. It's good. You like, I can't think, I can't see anything because your mind is clouded by things. So allow yourself the support to clear things up. Allow yourself to discover the support to discover yourself if you don't know already how to do that. And sometimes people say, well, yeah, we don't want to sit here and dig out the past for months and years. And that's very true. You don't want to do that at all. Now, certain techniques, such as the one that I will teach you if you work with me, only take 8 weeks. And sometimes it's the most precious 8 weeks you can have in your life for the next 8 years. And so I would say discover what is your why. Discover what is your why, and if you feel that you might have things going on in your life that might interfere you, then clear out your slate. In general, we living this life, we can benefit from clearing up our slate even more, day to day, every day at a time, in an easy and quick way. And then you can say, all right, now I have my guiding in my North Star. I know my why, and I can create my goal, and then I can step back from that goal easily, and then you'll be able to easily succeed. What about you, Numsa? What are your tips and tools for creating an awesome plan for 2020?
I'm actually listening to your plans, guys, and I like when you say you know your why, which is very, very important. Basically, and you also touch that when you know your why, make sure that everything aligns with your high power, whatever your beliefs that may be. And I like Tamia as well when she talks about need to have a map to get you where you need to go. I think that is amazing. And she also said you have to evaluate your plan, and vision board obviously is a must. Basically, she spoke about the vision board and the steps as well, knowing the steps that are going to take you there. And Carol Anna, you spoke about the ending in mind, which is my favorite part that I do. That you have to think whenever I make a plan, I have to think about the ending in mind and going backwards. And you talk about the stepping stone, because when you go along the way, there's gonna be challenge as well, so you have to review your plan. And Carol Anna was saying she's not actually good at basically pushing herself. So what I do is myself, I get a company basically to help me. Like 2 months ago, I got a company in, so they helped me to write my vision for the company growth. So we had to look at the gap where I need some improvement, and my weaknesses and my strengths. So I don't do goals based on 22 or basically based on New Year resolution. I used to, but I find that every time I get excited, it's New Year, and after the New Year, I don't go. It's basically hard for me to just continue. So what I do is I bring somebody in and we set up the goals, and then he will connect me, that person will connect me with the companies that will help me to take actions if it's necessary, like the recruitment companies. Like when we wrote a vision for the company growth, so we had to bring basically a recruitment company that is going to help me to recruit the people that I need. And also I have to get involved with the interviews as well. So my job basically is to interview and pick the right candidate. That's basically the plan for me not for 2022 is the plan for me, my vision. And then I have my vision board. And we spoke about all this that Utamia was saying, talking about the vision board, and Carol Anna was saying life will give you caves balls. So what do you do? So all these things, I've written my vision board, and some of the things like on LinkedIn, I was telling Carol Anna that I applied so many times to broadcast on LinkedIn, and I never hear from them. I apply, but I'm sure they gave me permission a long time ago, and they've never bothered to tell me. So I only realized a few days ago, like this week, that I can actually broadcast on LinkedIn. So I didn't know. So because I applied, and I think I've applied 3 times or 4 times, but they didn't get back to me. So I thought I wasn't allowed. But when I went back on Restream and I'm looking, I was like, oh, it says LinkedIn, connect to LinkedIn. So then that's how I connected it. And then it connected, it didn't say get permission. So I would realize, okay, they allowed me, but they didn't tell me. So those are the changes that you experience along the way when you try to do something, you and whatever you try to do is not gonna just come like that. That's where Tamia and Dr. Biggett spoke about your beliefs. God's plan. God's plan is for you to keep seeking and not to give up. Or sometimes the plan that you are seeking, it might not be God's plan, it might be your plan. God will not bless you if He knows that the blessings that you are asking, they are not for you. So He will bless you based on on whatever your destiny house, because we all have our destinies. So you just have to keep seeking, and if things are not working, just tweak around. Like I've realized there's some things that I've been doing and they've not been working, but when I stop saying I want this to happen now, it happens on His way, His time, not my time, because we don't have patience. So when we write goals, we just want, okay, God, I want it to happen now, 2022 January, you got to bless me. But God says, okay, this is what you asked for, but I'm going to test you to see how much you want this. So He's going to bring challenges, and you're like, okay, I'm falling, and then you're not going to pick yourself up. So everything that you guys have said is all basically you have to keep seeking, you have to rewrite your plan if things are not working. And I think you guys have covered part of it, and Carol only spoke about the SMART goal as well, which is that's what I used when we were planning everything. Basically, mostly I was looking at my weaknesses, because my weaknesses are very, very important. So we had to look at my weaknesses. It's annoying. It took a few hours, but like maybe 3 hours per day, 2 hours, 1 hour per day just to fill up the forms. But that was maybe we done it 4 times or 5 times, I can't remember. So that's how we got there. So if you really, really want to achieve your goals, you have to bring somebody in. There are companies actually you can find on Google. Some of them don't charge. They charge when you want, after you've done a plan. If you want them to go further, then they will charge you. But for the first like maybe 10 hours, they don't charge. It's for free. You have to add, your company has to have a turnover of a certain amount. So you can go online if you are somebody like me who wants a push. So get those companies in, they are free, and work with them. So I'm gonna come with Carol Ann. Is there anything you would like to add to what you've just said, please?
Yeah, I love what everyone's saying, and I certainly agree to me what you said. We can have the best laid plans in the world, but God's got His own. And it's like all the times I've gone, okay, Lord, what is it you want me to do? You know? And and it is being able to just let go and relax into that and listen. And as you were saying, Dr. Brigitte, it's when you've got all the chatter going on in your head that it's cloudy, you can't listen. It's clearing all of that so you can really be in your heart and be able to listen and feel and get the sense of the guidance, and also not make it wrong. It's where, whatever you've done is what you've done, and you may have gone off track a bit, but there's always a learning to be gotten from there. Take the learning and bring it back with you, and then carry on the path. And I love what Alan Lakin says, is planning is bringing the future into the present so that you can do something about it now. And I was like, oh, that's a great thought. And I also found another one, Richard Cushing, he said, always plan ahead. It wasn't raining when Noah built the ark. Yeah. I laughed when I saw that. I thought it's true. You don't know. And there's another one, the same John F. Kennedy. He said, the time to repair the roof is when the sun is shining. So bear those in mind. And a goal without a plan is just a wish. So planning is important. And every minute you spend in planning saves 10 minutes in execution. This gives you 1,000% return on energy, according to Brian Tracy. So that's something worth thinking about as well. So if you think, oh, why do I need to bother planning? It is important. But this, I said about the SMART goal. SMART, S is for specific. Be specific. You know, the who, what, when, where, which, and why about your goal. The M is make it measurable so that you can actually measure progress. Because we're so good at just carrying on and thinking we haven't achieved anything. If you've got a way of measuring progress, you can actually look back and think, oh, actually, I've done better than I thought I have. So that's, you know, something that you can measure. Bring that into it. And is it actually attainable? So that's the A in SMART. And the R is it relevant? Is it relevant to what you want to achieve or to what you desire? Because sometimes we, you know, set a goal and it isn't actually relevant to what it is we're about or where we're going. So just ask that question, is it relevant? And then the T is the time-based. So I was saying about give it a timing, set a deadline as when you want it to achieve it by. So that's actually what the SMART goals are about. So just in case we've used that terminology and some of you might not know what it was about. But certainly create a list of actions from there and then schedule your to-dos. Once you prioritize them, schedule them. As Tamia said, yes, have you got your calendar? I got a diary for Christmas. My daughter bought me one for Christmas. Like, yeah, I was able to then start putting the things in that I've been making notes about. Get your calendar, get your diary, put things in there. And I've actually, two friends of mine and I, we said December next year, we're going to have lunch in Fortnum and Masons, which is somewhere we're sort of all going, somewhere that we can really afford. But we said, no, let's put it in our diary. We've set the date. We've put it in our diary. And in 6 months' time, one of us is going to ring up and book, see if we can book, see at what point we can actually book it. So it's there. And it is about then taking the actions so that you can make it happen. It's not just sitting back and going, okay, I've planned it. You know what? You've got to take the actions. So schedule it, put them in order. But yes, the curveballs, they happen. Just be with them and relax, be flexible, and keep breathing. Keep breathing. Because actually, the universe, God, whatever you wish to think of, has your back. At the end of the day, it has your back. So do remember that. And if there's anything, I actually run a free 5-day challenge, writing challenge. So if you've got writing that you want to get moving again, I run a 5-day free writing challenge, and it's going to be towards the end of January, be the first one next year. And you actually set, like, it gives you a foundation on which your writing can then move forward. It looks at your purpose, it looks at your target audience, it looks at your why, and it looks at the aim, and then about scheduling time. So it's all important. Tamia, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yes, Caroline, I really enjoyed your entire presentation. I love this 5-day writing challenge that you're talking about, and I definitely want to be a part of it. So let me know the dates. I will definitely join. I love to write, and I love the panel that NOMSA has put together today because we're all writers. We all have books. We all are helping people write, and it's very important to write your plan. It's just, you guys just don't really understand. I challenge everyone. If you are not a writer of your plans right now, if that is not your practice, I would just encourage you over the next week, because you're going into a new year, to actually write down and reflect. I've already mentioned that you could grab my book, which is a workbook. You have Carol Ann's class. I believe Dr. Brigitte will talk about her. She also has a journaling book there, but it's all, I think that the process of writing things down is so key, because there's a concept called that we are the captain. We are the captain of our ships in life, and our ship is our life. Also, for me as a creative, I believe we create our life. We are the author of our life. So we have to write down what our dreams and our goals and what we want. We have to write them down. We have to read them often, and we have to believe that they can come to pass for us. So that's why I say, and I believe it's so important who you walk this journey with. I'm oftentimes talking with my clients and my friends about the crabs that we run into in our lives. And what I mean by crabs is, if you've ever watched crabs in a barrel, when crabs are in a barrel, there's always this one ingenious crab that has figured out how to get out. He's going to start to climb, or she's going to start to climb out. But what happens is the other crabs see them trying to climb out, and instead of going, oh, let's help boost her up so we can come up behind her, they immediately grab at her claw and start trying to pull them back in. And this is the crab mentality. And sometimes, because we have a desire to fit in with other people, we will be pulled back in instead of saying, no, this is my journey to get out of here, and I'm getting out of here. We will allow the other people to pull us back in and go, oh, I guess this is just my place in life. But what we have to understand is that we are designed to shine. Okay. As children, little children, what do? Look at me. They want to shine. They want to be seen. They want to adventure. They want to explore. And then the world, life, day to day, school, work, beat that out of us. We can't shine. You must diminish your light. You're shining too bright. No one can be around you. That's not true. You're shining so bright because you were setting the path. I used to be really big into lighthouses. Lighthouses guide you. Lighthouses let you see, here I am. And if you see me, there's land here. So therefore, captain of the ship, you need to steer away from the lighthouse, right? As a clue. So we are lighthouses. We are guideposts. We are designed to show one another how to stay safely from being wrecked on the shore. Okay, so back to the captain analogy. If you think about the story, the series Star Trek, and it's the second one where it was Jean-Luc Picard, right? He would always say what his mission was, right? He'd say, we're going to be on our way to the Adronian process or whatever, right? And then he would look at his second in command and he would say, make it so, number one. And what he meant by make it so was, this is my desire of what we should do right now. And I need you to make it so. So our bodies and our minds are number one, right? So in the scenario, he had a number one, the second in command. And when he said, make it so, his second in command would go about doing whatever actions he needed to do to make it so. So think about that in your mind for 2022. What is it that you're asking your body and your mind and your whole spirit and visionary passion to be aligned with? And then tell it to make it so. Because we are the captain. And our body is going to believe what we put up here. So if we tell our body, our mind, we are successful, we're going to do this, we have done it, we've accomplished it, envision it, right? You'll be amazed at the mind, our mind. If we can see it, if we can believe it, if we can see ourselves, you want to be the CEO of your own business and you see yourself there, your mind starts working towards that. And you have to believe you can do it. And you have to climb out the barrel, and you have to shine, and you have to my favorite little friend here, you have to love yourself. You have to choose to love yourself and love your journey and realize that everybody can't go on your journey with you. That's what's so important about 2022. I believe it was Carol Ann who said you got to clear your house. You have to, or I'm sorry, it was Doc that said it, that you have to clear your house, clear your mind and open your heart. You have to forgive and move on, because in order for you to be successful, you can't hold on to that stuff. You can't carry them crabs with you as you're climbing out. You have to release them so that you can climb to your next level, because out of that bucket is the next level for that crab. And for you, you know what your next level is. But the only way you're going to get there is to get rid of the crabs, get your focus right, choose to shine your light and not diminish it, or not make it smaller so that other people don't feel uncomfortable, and then go after your dreams, because that's so important. Find your tribe and run with them. So that's what I would say. How about you, Doc? What is something else you'd like to share?
I love that. Find your tribe and clear out the crabs and find your tribe and run with them. That is so wonderful. I would say that a lot of time when we ask, what is it that, when you ask what is it that you love, you have ideas. And as I believe it's Tamia that says, people says you got to be this and to be that, and everybody said, who do you think you are? And sometimes what your heart leading you back to listening to your why and your heart, what your heart leading you might be something that's like beyond your even comprehensions. You're like, who, and you start having this, who do you think I am? And also, oh, look at these things that I have done when I was a kid that you were not successful, and look at that thing, and then and all these other things. So you want to know that if you are here, you deserve it. You deserve what it is that your heart calling you. And know this. Sometimes some of us say it's, well, yeah, but I don't want it to be all about me. If you're doing something that your heart is calling you, then it is based from love. And love is not something that even you or I can contain. So in other words, if you follow your heart, whatever it is that you're doing, even if it is something that seemingly very personal. Say you want to be with the love of your life. You want to be married or something like that. You're like, well, that's really personal. How could that be benefiting anybody else? And I don't want it to be all about me. If you ever seen people who are very happy together, it's very inspiring. Have you ever seen this where you see excuse me, or an old couple walking side by side or tending each other, and they look like they are 99 years old, and so forth. And it was always heartwarming to see that. And so even if it's something that personal, it will bring good for others. And therefore, you deserve it. Your loved ones deserve it. The society as a whole can always benefit from something heartwarming and loving. So know this. You deserve it. And you deserve to have it done easily instead of through a lot of struggle. And if you don't already know how to do it easily, that's when you want to allow support. If you only know people who say to clear up all your crabs can take years, well, perhaps it is time for you to say, well, let me just try something new where I can do this in the next 8 to 12 weeks. And as we mentioned here, I think it's Carol Ann that says, your investment in that little time come back 100 or 1,000 fold. Yes, you got to invest in something, but if you ever done investment, that you invest in something, and so that will allow you to clear out all your crabs. and when you have clarity and you have a clean slate, it's easy to say, okay, this is what I'm guided with. This, I know I deserve it, and this is what I would love, and then help you create what it is that you would love easily. And when a boulder, an obstacle come, because you are guided by love and you allow support in yourself, then even when the storm come, you stay dry and you keep on going. And so know that you deserve it. And if you don't already know how to do it and succeed wonderfully, allow support, because that way you will give yourself as well as your loved ones. When you allow support, it's an expression of love to you and your loved ones. And so make it an awesome 2022, doing it easily and with fun.
Okay, so I am muted. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Bigot. Yes, I agree with you when you talk about you have to basically follow your heart and follow your dreams, which is the Tamia spoke about. Sometimes you have to leave people behind to actually make your dreams come to reality. And Kero Anna, you talk about you need to prioritize. It's very, very important to prioritize our goals and they basically take action and make it happen, not to live in hope. Some people believe that, okay, I'm going to pray to God. God, you pray to Him, and then you have to take action. Without action, your goals are not going to come to pass. So, and also you have to be patient. When you write your goals and you want things to happen, they don't happen how we want it to happen. So you have to have patience. And if things don't go wrong, Kero Anna is a favorite word. You never make yourself wrong for things. If things go wrong, just rewrite your story, rewrite your goals, and focus, stay focused, and do things that are really relevant as well. Because in order for you to accomplish certain goals, you're gonna have to prioritize them and you have to be specific. Basically, you have to define your goals as well. It's very, very important. Dr. Biget spoke about make sure that when you do things, your mind, your heart is aligned together. You align everything together and you define them and make sure that your goals are attainable and the time as well. Time management is very, very, very important. So, and also you have to be realistic. So you can't say I'm gonna be a millionaire to 2020, and then you give yourself a 3 months time frame of becoming a millionaire. So be realistic, because if you basically push yourself and want things to happen now, if they don't happen, you'll be disappointed. But if you say, okay, by the end of the year, I have to accomplish these big things, and then you accomplish your goals, then you'll be able to celebrate. So give yourself time and also challenge yourself. Me, I basically I like a challenge. Everything that I do, I like it to challenge myself, and I like pushing towards where I'm going, even if when I fall, I like picking myself up, because that is the funny part. When you fall, it is actually the learning part. Because if I meet Tamia right now and she gives me information, like say I'm looking for something, and then she gives me information, I go and fix something. I've learned something from Tamia to be generous, to be humble, and to help others. But actually, me, I've not done the work. So if I fail, then that means there's a learning there. And also doing the process, doing whatever it is necessary for you to get there. It is a learning curve. And people, Tania spoke about people, sometimes the people will not understand your goals. You have to know that they won't understand it because it is your goal. Some people might do, but some people might not. So don't spend time feeling sorry and say, why can't they get to me? They don't get your dream because it's not theirs. So forget it. Just keep going. Love people. There are some people that when people don't accept their goals or their dreams, they get angry, focus, and distraction. You have to understand that people's jobs is to protect. And those who love you, they're going to do anything. They will do whatever it takes to protect you, to make sure you don't get hurt. So you make sure that you do whatever is necessary to love, not argue with family members or friends, and just continue with your goals. The friends will overcome family when they see the dream coming to reality, and they will be saying, "Oh, I believe in you," and you'll be like, "I don't think so." That's part of life. So anyway, it's 19 minutes past 2. Any quick words of encouragement, Carol Ann, please, before we leave?
Just a quote by Thomas Edison. Good fortune is what happens when opportunity meets with planning.
Thank you so much. Tamia?
Believe in yourself, believe in your dreams and your vision, and know that you can accomplish it and that you are the one to do it. God bless you.
Thank you so much. Over to you, Dr. Bigot.
Thank you, Numsa. And I would say, to quote Thomas Carlyle, no pressure, no diamond. You might be at a place where you are feeling a lot of challenge already right now. You're like talking about 2020, could barely handle talking about 2022, could barely handle 2020 or 2021. Remember this. No pressure, no diamond. Maybe it's life trying to help you discover really who you are and bring out your biggest why so you can shine even brighter. And if you don't know how to do that, allow help.
Very good.
Make it awesome one.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We are here Monday to Friday at Ngozi Talk Shows. So please, guys, if you want to get in touch with our speakers, please do get in touch. And go to our page or go to the website. And Happy New Year, everyone. Have a lovely. We'll see you on Monday. It will be 2022. My goodness.
See you next year.
Happy next year.
Everyone. Bye.
Happy New Year. Bye.